Imagine with me that you are sitting in a waiting room, fidgeting, checking your phone nervously, clock ticking, the door opens. We're ready for you. You take a deep breath, reach for that handle, and the next 45 minutes could change everything. Welcome back to Communication Campus. I'm your host, Dr. Melinda Stewart, and today we are talking all about career interviews. So I want you to imagine that you are sitting across someone who could change your life forever. They have the power to say yes or no to your next opportunity. Maybe this is your first real job. Maybe your dream role. Maybe the career pivot you have been planning and needing for years. Your palms are probably sweaty. Your heart is likely racing. And you have maybe 30 to 45 minutes to convince them that you are the one they need. I know this sounds stressful, but it doesn't have to be. What if I told you that career interviews aren't about being perfect? They're about being prepared, authentic, and strategic. What if the person across from the table isn't trying to catch you failing, but hoping that you will succeed because they need someone who is great for this role? I don't know about you, but I rarely think about it from that perspective. So, today we're gonna think about it from that perspective. I want us to transform how you think about career interviews. So by the end of this video, you will understand exactly how to prepare effectively, present yourself confidently, and follow up professionally. You'll learn the framework that turns anxiety into excitement and transforms interviews from something you survive into conversations where you actually shine. Let's dive in and get you ready to land that opportunity. So the foundation of any successful interview is really through preparation. Think of it as like studying for an exam. You wouldn't walk in without reviewing the material. Okay, so some of you might, but I wouldn't recommend it. So first, we need to research the organization. Visit their website, read recent news articles, check out their social media. Understand their mission, their values, their recent projects, and challenges in their industry. This shows genuine interest and helps you determine if it's even the right fit for you. Remember, these interviews go both ways. Second, analyze the job description carefully. Identify the skills and qualifications they're seeking. Then prepare specific examples from your experience that demonstrate each of these qualities. This is where the STAR method becomes really invaluable. STAR stands for situation, task, action, and result. When answering behavioral questions like, "Tell me about a time you faced a challenge," because you are always going to hear that question all the time. You want to structure your response like this. You want to describe the situation briefly, explain the task you needed to accomplish, detail specific actions that you took, and share the measurable results you achieved. So, for example, in my previous role, our team was behind on a major project deadline. That's the situation. I needed to coordinate our efforts to catch up without compromising the quality. That's the task. So I organized daily meetings that allowed me to redistribute tasks based on our strengths and created a shared tracking system. That's the action. We actually completed the project 2 days early and received commendation from the leadership. That's the result. Prepare at least 5-star stories that showcase different competencies like leadership, problem solving, teamwork, and adaptability. Now, Let me address some additional common questions that appear in almost every interview. Tell me about yourself. This is a pretty common opener, and this isn't just an invitation for you to recite your resume. Instead, deliver a concise professional narrative in about 90 seconds. Cover your current role, relevant experience, key accomplishments, and why you're interested in this position. Think of it as your professional story arc. What are your strengths? This requires self-awareness and evidence. Choose strengths relevant to the role and back them up with examples. Don't just say you're a strong communicator. Explain how you've used communication skills to achieve those results. Another common one, what's your weakness? This is tricky but manageable. Choose a real weakness. Don't ever say, I don't have any weaknesses. Yes, you do. We all do. And it's okay to have them. So we don't want to disguise a strength. Like, for example, oh, I often work too hard. You want to show self-awareness and crucially describe what you're doing to improve. For example, I sometimes get so focused on details that I need to take a step back to really see the bigger picture. I've started blocking my time on my calendar specifically for strategic thinking, and that helps me retain a better balance. Finally, we also are commonly going to be asked, why do you want this job? Or why should we hire you? These questions require you to connect your skills and goals with their needs. This is where your research really gets to pay off. Be specific about what attracts you to their mission or culture, and articulately, clearly show how you add value. All right, now let's talk a little bit about the actual day. First impressions matter significantly. In those crucial few seconds, you set the tone for everything else. My father would advise you that you arrive at least a half hour early, but in most days, I'm going to say 10 to 15 minutes will be enough. You don't want to be too early that it can be disruptive. You also don't want to be rushing in, just in case you're not able to find the place. Dress appropriately for the company culture. When in doubt, err on the side of professionalism. Bring multiple copies of your resume, a notepad, and a professional-looking pen, not the one you've been chewing on as you've been stressed preparing. Body language speaks volumes. Offer a firm handshake, maintain good eye contact, and sit up straight. These nonverbal cues convey confidence and engagement. Smile genuinely to show enthusiasm for the conversation. Make sure that you are actively listening to each question before you start responding. It's okay to pause briefly to gather your thoughts. You want to make sure that you are speaking clearly and at a moderate pace. Do the best you can to avoid words like and like as much as possible. But you don't need to worry if you have one or two occasionally. Don't let that throw you off. Most of all, be authentic. Interviewers can detect if what you're saying is rehearsed and robotic. While you should be prepared, you want to let your personality shine through. Show genuine interest in the role and the people you're meeting. You also want to make sure that you're asking thoughtful questions when you are given the opportunity. You will always be asked, well, what questions do you have for us? And you always want to make sure that you do have questions. This demonstrates engagement and helps you assess if this is the right opportunity for you. So make sure you ask about team dynamics, growth opportunities, success metrics for the future role. You might even ask them about challenges the department is currently facing. Avoid asking questions about salary and benefits for a first interview, unless the interviewer actually brings it up. Also, don't ask about vacation or how quickly you're going to be able to get time off. Not a good look. Some questions are going to feel like curveballs, and here's how we handle them. For gaps in our employment, be honest but brief. Focus on what you've learned or did during that time, then pivot to your readiness for this role. If asked about being fired or leaving a job, please avoid bad-mouthing your former employers. Take responsibility where appropriate. Explain what you've learned and redirect why you're excited about this new opportunity. Salary questions can be navigated by deflecting politely early on. I'd love to learn more about the roles and responsibilities before discussing any compensation. I'm confident we can reach an agreement that is going to be fair. If pressed, provide a researched range based on market data. Now, if you don't know an answer to a technical question, please don't fake it. Acknowledge it honestly and describe how you'll find an answer or approach to learning it. It's okay to say, I'm not really sure. As the interview concludes, express genuine appreciation for their time. Reiterate your interest in the position and ask about next steps in the process. Within 24 hours, send a personalized thank you email to each person who interviewed you. Reference specific points from your conversation, reaffirm your interest, and mention something that reinforced why you'd be a great fit. Keep it concise but meaningful. If you don't hear back within their stated time, it is okay and appropriate for you to send a follow-up inquiry. Maintain that professionalism regardless of the outcome. Every interview is practice, and that's practice for the opportunity to expand your network. Remember, interviewing is a skill that improves with practice. Each interview teaches you something about how you're presenting yourself in an effective and evaluating opportunities. Prepare thoroughly, be authentic, and approach each conversation with a mutual exploration for fit. I promise you, you got this. So, good luck with those interviews, and remember that the right opportunity is out there waiting for you. If you have additional questions or need help with any of these pieces, do not hesitate to reach out. And above all else, keep communicating.